Never miss an episode of the Final Furlong Podcast. Subscribe now on YouTube, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or wherever you get your podcasts. And now, here's your host, Emmet Kennedy.
An emergency podcast of the Final Furlong with the news that Nicky Henderson has taken Constitution Hill out of the champion hurdle after that explosive all-weather performance. Hopes were high that the King would try and regain his crown, but alas, he has fallen. Well, I don't know. Maybe he did fall in his schooling session. But he ain't going to line up in the champion hurdle. He is instead going to go for a flat campaign. So we're going to talk about that. We're going to get the opinions of Adam Mills from Total Performance Data and Pricewise, the real Pricewise, the voice of Irish racing, Jaime Wrenn, their ideas about who's going to come out on top, sorry, Tom Siegel, in the champion hurdle, or the current state of the betting for the champion hurdle right now, and any other anti-post betting updates from the two boys as well. First of all, Adam, your reaction to Constitution Hill being withdrawn from the champion hurdle. Is it the right decision from Nicky?
I think it's the only decision that Nicky could really make. I think we have to think, how likely is it that he would have fallen? Well, I think he was about 1 to 6 shots complete, but that's still 1 in 6. And if he'd fallen and if anything had happened, I just think the repercussions would have been unthinkable. And Friday night probably helped their cause, because actually what we saw on Friday night was like this horse could have another career on the flat and could be very successful and very competitive on the flat. He can keep his brand. They can keep. Constitution Hill is probably the most famous horse in British and Irish racing, and he's going to be wherever he runs. He's got out of jumping and he's got out safe and sound, which in the last 12 months have been 3 occasions at least where you've thought maybe he won't get out safe and sound one day. So I think it was probably inevitable, and whatever happened at the schooling session must have been the final tick in the box that they needed. But I think as much as we'd love to see him regain the champion hurdle, the thought of the damage and what could happen to the horse if anything were to go wrong in the champion hurdle should far outweigh what we want to see in one race.
Yeah, I tend to agree, Jamie. On Friday night, when he bolts up at Southwell, like, your emotions are just, the energy is pumping, the crowd's going wild, it's an explosive performance, and my immediate reaction is, he wins the champion hurdle, and he does it doing handstands. And then by the time Sunday rolls around, my brain finally copped on to what I've been saying in the week, which is, it doesn't really matter what he does at Southwell. He's not going to jump any hurdles, so it's not going to prove anything. And a new door has been opened to him, a new gateway. They've been offered to go to the Melbourne Cup, and whether he stays that trip or takes up that adventure remains to be seen. We still get the excitement of what the horse can do on the flat, and I'm really excited to see him take on the best that Aidan O'Brien throws at him and how he faces against elite John Gosden-trained horses. But it probably is the right decision. Do you agree?
You getting emotional about a Biden 4 race, a novice race around Southwell?
I was, because there was a real doubt. There was a real doubt as to whether or not this horse still has the ability.
But all jokes aside, yeah, I agree. But look, regardless of that, I think if it was close, he'd be go back hurling. But he won by 9.5 lengths. I think that was sold already. Regardless if he does in schooling, whatever. Emmet, to be honest with you, it was done by Friday night. I think everybody knows that. Look, fair play to Southwell, whatever you want to call it.
Yeah.
I don't think you'll ever see a crowd like that again. But there's something I want to touch on. Exactly, I'm going to touch on what both you just said, Emmet. The likes of now Leopardstown and the Curragh and all that in the towards the September's of August of this world are going, hold on now, hold up, as we say, hold up, wait a minute.
Something ain't right.
We want Constitution in at the Irish St. Ledger. Do you know what I mean? Or an Ebor York or something like that. And my God, won't he draw crowds? And that's an absolute fact that he's going to draw crowds. To be honest with you, I wouldn't go inside the door of the Curragh. I love the Curragh. Love watching it. But when I go there,
should take that
not my bag. Not my bag. Do you know what I mean? But when I go to the Irish St. Ledger to see Constitution Hill, I will, yeah. I'll see you there, I mean.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? But yeah, he's definitely going to be a marketing tool now, to be honest with you, and he will be, and that's what he's going to be. And more luck to him. Melbourne Cup, you want to really pour down with rain in Melbourne if he's going to win a Melbourne Cup. That's just my opinion in this early stage of his flat career. But look, he might end up in a Savile Beg maybe, or something like that. I heard that roaming around the place today. But look, he could go after shortest price favourite ever for Ebor, and that's the one I think he'll go for, yeah. So, look, he's done what he is, a champion hurdler. They're doing what's best for the horse, Emmet, and that's what's the number one thing. They're doing what's best for the horse. And look, if I owned him, I'd be delighted, but I would go for the champion hurdle. That's just me, and I think, look, horse welfare is coming to it as well. So look, that's fine. I have no problem with it. He's done what he's done, and look, isn't he going to be an exciting recruitment to the summer flat season? Isn't he?
Well, in some ways, I'm sad that National Hunt Racing has just lost arguably its biggest flag bearer, and it's lost it to the flat. But at the same time, Willie Mullins just won a Breeders' Cup Turf with Ethical Diamond, so who the hell knows what this fella could go on to achieve? Look, he's 9 years of age, and Group 1, Grade 1 wins internationally might be a little bit of an exaggeration, but a man who can paint a little bit of context into what we saw over the weekend, wins by 9.5 lengths, as Jamie says, achieves a top speed of 39.95 miles an hour. The finishing percentage is 109.72%. Your total performance data efficiency grade was D. You can explain that to us. What exactly do you think Constitution Hill can achieve on the flat at a Mills? And what's his key distance going to be? Because I heard Angus McNay say drop him back to 10. And Jamie's talking about mile 6 for the Ebor.
Yeah, I don't necessarily agree dropping back to 10. It's always hard because it's a one-off performance. So when I looked at this, I was trying to think, don't think about the champion hurdle, just look at the horse. Look at the second. The horse in second is a pretty decent yardstick. He's probably run to a mark close to 90 at Dundalk, and he couldn't live with him. And if you look at the horse in second, he ran the exact expected time that we'd have for a Class 2 race. And don't forget, this is a Class 2 contest. It's in some Class 5 for $3,000. I know they put the extra prize money in, but this was open to big rated horses. He got in, and I think Constitution absolutely battered him. If you run this race from the mile pole and just run it side by side with the big mile handicap half an hour earlier, that was won by a horse called Dossman, first winner for Ollie Ricks as a trainer. Clearly had been lined up to be a big handicap mover. The horse was well backed. He'd been unlucky at Newcastle. He ran a really good effort to win at Southall. And yet Constitution Hill was faster than him over the final 3 furlongs. Now, to be faster than an 85 rated miler who probably had £7 in hand is kind of like where this turn of foot really shouldn't be there. I mean, this has really bitten me in the backside. I'll put my hands up. I laid him on Friday thinking he won't beat this.
No!
And then rather stupidly, I thought, well, I'll lay him, but I'll back him for the champion hurdle because he'll short if he wins. So obviously I've now got 2 losing bets in the book.
No.
Really painful in terms of having a go. What trip would I like to see him on? I'd like to see them start over a mile 4 and sort of see where they go, maybe a mile 6. I understand the 10 furlong point, but my argument would be those 10 furlong races, like Friday's race, the pace got quicker and quicker and quicker, and it built up, which is why you've got a finishing speed of 109%. It's also why it's not the most efficient because he's used a lot of energy in the closing stages rather than spread out across the race. In a 10 furlong flat race, I mean, there's people trying to get prices for him to win the Eclipse. I'd be saying, well, sit down a minute, because what you've got to remember is in a 10 furlong flat race, they'll be going a lot faster, a lot sooner. And whether Constitution Hill will have the early speed to stay with them and then kick again, very doubtful, because Friday night's race was basically run like a hurdle race. Get to the third last, kick. And what we've all seen with Constitution Hill is he travels like the best horse in the race, gets to the third last, injects the speed, and away he goes. So that's set up perfectly for him. I think there's lots of people with lots of opinions. I think there's no chance he goes to the Melbourne Cup because I cannot see how a nearly 10-year-old National Hunt type who's had a couple of issues can possibly pass the Australian vets. And let's face it, if we're being honest, and we're not trying to annoy Tim Carroll, but the Australians won't really want some 10-year-old National Hunt yoke rocking up and battering them in their best race. So they'll probably find a reason, even if there isn't one. But I do think there is a case to be made that there is a really nice programme for stayers. It's not the deepest division. It'll be taking on the usual horses that we'll start talking about in a month's time. Coltrane is one who comes to mind.
Yorkshire thing at York, isn't it?
Yeah, there's a race at York. There's the Cigaro Stakes at Ascot. But do they even need to? Do they need to go that high? Actually, they could build it up. There's a race at Nottingham in April, which Trushan has used as a prep for his season a couple of times. That's over 1 mile 6. I don't think Nicky Henderson needs to think like, right, Tats Gold Cup at the Coronex, let's go right into Group 1 company. I think they could build it up slowly.
Would you think not the Melbourne Cup wouldn't suit him though? Because they go quick at the start. They stop at the corner, the far bend over, and then they sprint home. I think it'll suit him down to the ground, but as you said, will he pass the vets?
It's will he pass the vets? I don't buy this sort of Ascot Gold Cup route because I don't think he'll stay. I don't think he'll stay that far.
Nicky said that on the Final Furlong last week. He doesn't think he'd stay.
2 mile, and you only have to see last year's race. I mean, they were out on their feet.
Yeah,
Trawlerman basically just ripped everything to shreds, and I think Constitution Hill would find 2 mile 4 on the flat, the equivalent to 3 miles over jumps. If he didn't stay 2 mile 4 in the entry hurdle, why would he do it in the Ascot Gold Cup on firm ground? I don't really see that. But I do see a nice campaign for him. I think he could reach... Well, I said on Friday, I thought he got to somewhere around 101. Now, that would be probably the highest rated debut on the all-weather that we've got. But I do think you need the context that it's not like Constitution Hill was having his first ever start. He's got lots of experience and he's a 170 rated hurdler. So it's not like he was sort of new to the game and had never been in a race before. But if he's done that, how much higher could he go? I don't know. I don't think there's going to be this sort of 2 stone of improvement that you might sometimes get with a debutant because there's a lot of history and a lot of things that have gone on with the horse. But I see no reason why they shouldn't be thinking about races like the Eagle. And probably you'd want to try and campaign down the listed Group 3 kind of route. There's the race at Nottingham that I mentioned. There's the Sagaro, which is a Group 3. I think that's 2 miles at Ascot. There's the Ormond Stakes at Chester. Maybe you could take on Hamish and we could have 9 and 10-year-olds having a old slug out. But there's quirks to it.
The race Rebels Romance one at York.
That's what I was thinking. And also the BHA just put on a specialist race with ARC. Get the old boy Rebels Romance in a match race with Constitution Hill. Let's go. Yeah. If we can get these special races on, it's the Racing League never attracted anybody to the races and all the gaslighting that's surrounded that. This did though. This had a huge crowd. Put on specialist races for really good horses like this, and let's see them go to war.
Do you remember now, Emmet, the Irish won the Racing League at Tuttle?
Are you joking? That's utter nonsense. No. Anyway, what do you think he can achieve? Do you think he's a Group 3, Group 2? Dare we say Group 1? Do
you know what I think he is, Emmet? I think he's... Adam might talk me down here, and he's probably dead right. I think he's like an American equivalent of a Grade 1 handicapper. Do you know what I'm trying to say?
I know what you mean.
Do you know what I mean? Do you know what I'm trying to say? But I'd be all as I said, I'm sorry if I'm repeating, I think he'd be the shortest price ever for an Ebor. It's just in my head, it's Ebor straight away.
Yeah.
I know they've said it. I understand Michael Buckley has said it. I have no problem that he's the owner. But I think he'll go off the shortest price favourite. You'll never see an Ebor.
Do you concur, Adam?
Yeah. If they campaign him right, the Ebor is a handicap, so it's not. I don't. It's very difficult to have a strong opinion because you don't really have loads of evidence. And we should also point out that if you take out the second, this was a jumper's bumper. In all but name, it really was. And we mentioned the top speed there. The second fastest is also Tripoli Flyer. Well, Tripoli Flyer would be $1 million, as Johnny Dean would say, to win an Ebor. So there's a little bit of context needed, but I mean, he's very good. He's got all the attributes you need to win at York. The problem they kind of have is, if you tilt for the stars, you can't really come back for the Ebor because if you go and win a Group 3 by 8 lengths, the handicapper's going to be like, well, here's 115 to start.
Yeah.
So. There's lots of options. I think they just got to. Why not just have a bit of fun with him? Just have a bit of fun. Just go and find. What Savile did it. If I was Nottingham, I'd be saying, we got this listed race in April. If we chuck another 25 grand at the prize money, will you come and have your second start here? Suddenly, that Wednesday in the middle of April, where no one's really paying any attention, becomes this 6,000 sellout as everyone comes to see this one horse. And I think. Racing, Constitution Hill will be favourite for every race he runs in on the flat And quite frankly, you'd be quite happy to back him. Now, I don't think he'd beat Rebels Romance if you had that match race. I don't think he's got that kind of type in his locker. I think Rebels Romance is 125 type. I don't think Constitution Hill's going to get there. I think he's going to get to 115.
But over a mile and 6 Adam, he beat him now.
Oh, over a mile and 6, they won't run Rebels Romance over that trip again.
I don't think he would. I don't think he'd win. I think Rebels Romance is too good. But let's face it. Calandigan's the best horse in the world, the best middle distance horse in the world, the best turf horse in the world. Better than that Hong Kong Yoke one, I was cheap. But what I would say is kind of, if you look at part of the reason Calandigan's so good, it irritates me.
Cayenne Rising catching strays here.
It gets on my nerves. Drives me nuts.
Yeah, right.
He's doing the same horses again on a track they prepared so he could beat the track record in fast conditions. Down. Shut up. But Calandigan is right at the top of the sport. There's your video for Twitter.
I should say, Adam was saying at the start of, before we even recorded, he said the biggest talking point about Constitution Hill is, what are the racing posts going to write about now? What's the talking point going to be for the RP? And you've just slammed their second biggest talking point about how Cayenne Rising is the greatest horse in the world.
Yeah, I'm sure he is. But my argument, really, I'll try to get back to my point here, is that Calandigan's the best middle distance horse in the world. But actually, it's not like it's a really deep pool and there's 20, 120 plus types fighting it out. Actually, what we've seen in recent years is there's 3 or 4 world-class performers, of which clearly Cayenne Rising is one. You'd have to say that Sovereignty in the States is another. Sierra Leone, Forever Young, Romantic Warrior, Calandigan. But Constitution Hill was not going to run against any of them.
Yeah.
No. So actually, underneath that, he is more than capable of being competitive. And he could certainly, like an Irish Ledger, I mean, if he priced it now and you knew he was going to run, he'd be even money.
Against Scandinavia?
You'd have to think, over a mile and 6, he'd beat Scandinavia. Look at the turn of foot he showed on Friday. Scandinavia doesn't have that turn of foot. Scandinavia would outstay him over 2.5 and probably over 2. But in a small field, mile and 6, Aidan would need 6 pacemakers, 4 of which to hold Constitution Hill in. And the other 2 can try and set the race up. It would just be that kind of...
And a 4-man block.
Yeah, you would need the old American football style of we'll all line up in here.
Yeah.
Oisin Murphy's trying to switch and come 9 wide to get a run. But it is, the flat. We in the jump season, we all go, oh, it's uncompetitive. And then I really miss the flat. And then when the flat comes along, we go, after about 6 weeks, we go, bloody hell, these stayers races are uncompetitive. And so this is just a fresh angle. Constitution Hill's great. Saw that on Friday. I wrote a piece on Friday. So I sat down first thing Saturday morning, finished it off, published it, thought nothing more of it. It got 159,000 engagements.
Yeah.
28,000 people read it in full. We got more clicks through that to our website than every other piece I've posted on Twitter in the last 3 months. The numbers are absolutely phenomenal. I had people sending me messages saying, this is great, well done, really like it. Fantastic. And I was
one
like,
of those
what?
people.
And it was just I was like, bloody hell, this is just something I did in the coffee shop on Saturday morning. I just knock a few bits out. Time was really good. The figures are really good. I was writing it thinking, I'm going to pour a hole in this. I'll find a hole in the data. We'll burst the bubble. And then I looked at it and went, shit, this is good. This is really good. So he's fantastic. He's great for racing. I hope he goes on an unbeaten sequence. The scenes at York in the summer, hot sunny day on that Saturday. You can see the beer being thrown everywhere as Oisin looms up at the 2 furlong pole and kicks clear. He's not. I don't think he's going to win a King George. People come up with some gibberish and the Coronation Cup at Epsom. You're like, really, round that track? Are you nuts? Don't need to do that. Royal Ascot's a little bit different. There's kind of what race would they even go for at Royal Ascot? I'd assume the Hardwick is probably what they're
That's what I thought. Oh, no. I thought the Hardwick because I know people are going to talk about that race on day 1, that Willie always wins. But actually, that was such an impressive performance. Yeah, surely you aim for a Group 2.
Yeah.
No.
Oh, here he goes.
Here he goes. No. if he's running an Ascot, regardless if he runs in greater races for it, he's running the Clipper thing that's a 1.6 handicap, or he's running the Race Ethical Diamond one. Come on, lads.
The handicap, the King George the Fifth, is it?
No, yeah, King George, whatever it's called. It doesn't matter.
Yeah.
He'd run in that, but no. Hardwick Stakes, no.
Well, I think the ground is also a factor.
Mm-hmm.
Correct, I agree.
Is he actually going to run if it's good to firm and rattling quick?
Probably not.
Because that is something that he's never encountered.
And we should say that I think fast ground on the flat is very different to fast ground over jumps.
Yeah, exactly.
That's where I agree. Coming back to Adam's point there, Emmett, if it did rain at Chester, he's definitely a huge candidate for a Norman Stakes, which is what, 1.5 like the one, I can't think of the name of the O'Brien horse.
Scorpion?
No, not Scorpion. Not Scandinavia, the other one. It was second in the Ascot Gold Cup to Tronerman. What was I all over for the
Illinois?
Illinois. Yeah. I think he's a huge candidate for that because of if it does rain. Do you know what I mean? That's a Group 3, isn't it? Group 3,
It is, yeah.
Yeah.
And you got to also remember, he's going to go into these races with no penalty because he's only won a novice.
Yeah.
So basically, unless they run him in another novice race, which would be a bit bizarre, he'll go unpenalised wherever he goes because you don't get carry weight based on what you've achieved over jumps. You just carry it from what you've achieved on the flat. So I think they will probably push on, try and run him in April or May on when the ground's still got a bit of cut. If it was really firm in the middle of summer, you can give him a break. You don't necessarily have to run him on firm ground because the other thing you'd have to bear in mind is kind of this is a horse who's used to running on softer conditions. So something like Champions Day, it's not impossible to think as a long term. If you wanted to really have a crack at a Group 1, you come to Champions Day, don't you? And you run in the 2-mile race. But
what's
you kind
the
of
one
build
in
him up slowly.
from Adam? The 2 mile
Pre-Royal Oak.
Pre-Royal
Oak.
So you've got the Prix de Cadran, which is 2 mile 4.
That
is also horrific. The Royal Oak is now at Saint-Cloud, has been for the last couple of years.
Yeah,
that's doable, but the risk is that comes right at the end of October, and your ground can also go the complete opposite. So, if they really wanted a Grade 1, there's a new Group 1 recently upgraded called the Prix Vitesse Campion, I think it's called, which is the race that Candelari won last year.
Yes.
Or Graffard before going to the Gold Cup, which is in May. That's a French Group 1. But again, this is kind of, we're all talking like he's going to be this 125 rated horse. Actually, he's won a novice.
Yeah.
So there is a little need to rein it back.
Like, calm down slightly. All right, Daddy, calm down. But at the same time, it's hard not to get carried away. And look, a horse that I think a lot of us were excited about seeing, well, most of us were very excited to see him in the Champion Hurdle. The fact that they got the crowd they got on Friday night, that they got the engagement they got, that you've just talked about the engagement you got. This is the horse everyone wants to see. This is the horse that that people really care about. And for that reason, I understand why it's too much of a risk to run him over hurdles. I'm kind of with Jamie. I would have loved to have done it, but it might have been a bit reckless. And given the fact that he did what he did, why not dream? Why not dream about what he could go on to achieve? Anyway, that's Constitution Hill. Hopefully, we'll be talking about him for the flat campaign on the Final Furlong podcast. We're going to switch our attention to the Champion Hurdle and the current state of the betting now. I'm going to give you the betting from the good team at 1xBet in a second as we try and work out where the advantage lies in the market. If you are placing a bet on Cheltenham, if you're placing a bet on anything for that matter in Ireland, then 1xBet is the place for you to go. More than 7,000 events for you to get stuck into in Ireland every single day. Fast withdrawals, new customer sign-up offers, anti-post betting with non-runner no bet available for all the Cheltenham Festival races. 18 plus, terms and conditions apply. Gamble responsibly. You can click the link in the episode description. It'll take you right to the 1xBet website in Ireland. Good crack, great odds. That's 1xBet, proud supporter of the 1xBet Grand National Trial at Punchestown. The Novice Chase at Punchestown, which was won by a horse that hopefully will be winning a big handicap before the end of the season. Jamie knows the one we're talking about. We'll reveal more on the podcast to come. And proud supporter of the Curragh Racecourse, as well as being the official betting partner.
To stop now with your kick if you're right.
We will talk more about that as well. 1xBet, proud betting partner of the European Champions PSG and of Barcelona FC as well. The favourite with 1xBet for the Champion Hurdle is now the new line. He has to overcome a pretty nasty statistic. The last 20 years, 0 from 14 is the record of horses who won the International Hurdle. in the champion hurdle itself. However, this is a horse who's already a trendsbuster. He became the first horse in 20 attempts to win the Cheltenham hurdle and go on to win a Grade 1 hurdle race in the same season at the Cheltenham Festival. So the line from Dan Skelton right after the International was, we just needed the run. We just needed to get him a little bit more experience and get him jumping. The jumping was accurate. He's managed to get the win. Does he deserve to be favourite, Adam? And can he win?
Can he win? Yes. Definitely he can win. Does he deserve to be favourite? I would disagree. I think Brighterdaysahead should be favourite. Because No, hear me out. I appreciate there's a problem with Brighterdaysahead, which is Cheltenham. But if this race was at any other track, you'd look at their two form and you'd say, Brighterdaysahead has beaten Lossiemouth. She's produced probably the most stunning performance in an Irish Grade 1 that I've seen for 10, 15 years when she won at Christmas the time before. She's had a completely different campaign this time. She looked really impressive at the DRF. The New Lion has won a Turner's race where the form's got some serious question marks now about the speed of the second and third. He's gone to the Fighting Fifth where he was far from certain to have won when he came down, despite the fact his main rival checked out at the first. And then in a really slowly run race where he's only jumped one hurdle at any kind of speed, it's taken him nearly every yard to get past Nemean Lion and Brentford Hope. And I haven't seen Harry Derham's blog, but I don't think he's going to supplement Brentford Hope for this race. So there is a little bit of caution needed. The New Lion was really impressive last year. His jumping fluency score was off the charts. It was so good at Newbury. I was all over him to beat Final Demand last year. But I'm just a little bit cool. And whilst I appreciate he could well win this race, and if Brighterdaysahead doesn't handle the track, I'd say the Skeltons will be absolutely gutted if he doesn't, because I have the race between the two of them. But I do think Brighterdaysahead should be favourite because her overall form is stronger.
Okay, I don't disagree with you about the position of Brighterdaysahead in the betting market, and she was 5-2 second favourite for the race a year ago. We can include the two of them. I mean, I think your line, Jamie, was that she just looked empty up the hill even before she suffers the interference at the last, and I would agree. I know that Gordon has subsequently said, well, he said two things very interesting to try and put context into her Cheltenham form. He said very recently in that Cheltenham preview that he did with Vanessa Ryle that it's his opinion that it was Jack Kennedy and Paul Townend who got their respective mounts beaten in the Mayor's Novice Hurdle. And he's repeated, he thinks they're looking at one another, not looking at Golden Ace. Now, I can understand how you look at the race and come to a different idea, but that's what Gordon Elliott says, and I value his opinion over more than anybody else's. So he thinks it was a tactical error that got her beaten the first day around, and he seems to think that the horse was injured last year, and she certainly didn't run a race at Punchestown. So obviously she wasn't right. Good performance the other day. I think a lot of us really fancy Lossiemouth if she runs in the race, and we probably think that she's not going to, but who knows? Maybe Richie Rich is going to go for it this year with both her and Gaelic Warrior. On the positive side for him, the Turners win, finishing speed 105.22%, top speed 36.53 miles per hour. The jump index was clear best in the shallow hurdle. He gained 9.2 lengths jumping that day. I mean, the way he cruised through in that shallow hurdle, that's some smart horses in behind. They might be stairs. He laughed at them. He's done it on the bridle. The concern is the Fighting Fifth fall, and the concern is a less than convincing performance the last day. But I think he's the most likely winner. I would caveat this by saying he ended up going off third favourite for the Turners Novice Hurdle, and I don't get the feeling that this is a horse that JP will smash into. So you might actually get the same price, if not bigger, on the day.
Well, there's two things to factor in, Emmet, right? We're on about a horse that we're talking about for the last 20 minutes on the flat. And do you remember when Constitution Hill jumped the last in a champion hurdle? He was very close to falling.
Yes.
It was the same last year in the Turners with the New Line.
Yes.
So you look at it now, DLO Clay would have won the Turners and Final Demand. He reached. Now, the only thing is, I suppose, I'm not a stats trends man at all. He'd be the first horse since 14 go back from a Neptune to the champion hurdle to win. So that's 12 years. So it's a long time. And I always used to base years ago, and not being smart, that I always based my Turner's horse, Ballymore, whatever you want to call it, Sunline's hurdle, I used to call it, to be a champion hurdler. Easterbrack obviously comes into conversation. But
Hardy Eustace. Yeah.
hard to use. I think it's just by default he wins. Look, the new one should have won the champion earlier. That's just my opinion. No, O'Connor would have won.
Oh, poor fella.
It's either that or the new one would have won that race, regardless of jet ski and my 10 to yours. I think O'Connor and the new one would have been 5 lengths clear of the two of them. That's just my opinion. But I think it's just by default he wins. I understand what Gordon Eddy is. Look, a fantastic training performance to bring Brighterdaysahead back to where he's got her back in the Irish Champion Hurdle. But was Lossiemouth really right that day? It's like Constitution Hill beating Lossiemouth that day in Kempton.
Yeah.
Was Lossiemouth really right that day? So that's what you have to factor in too. Last year, I suppose you have to say what Brighterdaysahead was the race that absolutely hammered State Man, and there was definitely an imprint, we'll put that way to you, that it never got to what the potential was. But the only thing about the champion her last year, King Kingsfield was the pacemaker, and she couldn't keep up with him. And all of a sudden, she was left in front down the hill. All of a sudden, you think, oh, she's cruising. And all of a sudden, she didn't look right. I understand that part. But it's the Cheltenham form is the problem.
Yeah.
Regardless of the J. DeGrugy race, Golden Ace, I understand that part. But I can't forgive a horse. It's not my caliber. I just don't do it. So I think the new line, by default, is probably going to win. Will Lossiemouth turn up? I don't think so. And we won't mention, because Adam Mills is going to go mad, I won't mention the Millions of Mullins horse, who I think should run in the rest. So,
well, we'll come to him. We'll come to him in a second, because I think he's really interesting, but there's a quote from Willie Mullins that would concern me. Am I right in thinking that 100% of this betting market is taken up by the top 4? You've got the new line at 5-2, Brighterdaysahead 3-1, Lossiemouth, we'll talk about her in a second, 7-2, Golden Ace 13-2. Like, the point I'm making is we're 2 weeks away from the champion hurdle, and you might actually be better off to hold Mad Tough until the day where you have final field, you know who's riding who, you know what the ground is, and you actually might get a bigger price. Adam?
But I agree with you there, Emma, because I think it's going to be a fight to do the field.
Yeah.
If there's no Lossiemouth and Brighterdaysahead, the bookies are going to drift them out to fight to 2 to 3-1.
Now, you're taking the risk that you might end up with a silly 7-runner field.
Correct. Yeah. I agree. Yeah.
Well, that's the key. Is if you're going to have an each way swing, then you should probably play now, because I would price it as odds on that there's 7 or less. Because I'm looking through this and you're thinking, well, you know, if you got like lucky places in there, I don't know when that's going to run. I didn't see anything on work ahead that made me think he was going to end up in a champion earl. Casherdale Lad will probably run if Brighterdaysahead does. Yeah, because I'd imagine he'll be the pacemaker, but if she doesn't, then he won't. Ballyburn and Amsterdam. Alexi, I'd assume, will run. I mean, Paul Nicholls is talking about supplementing Tutti Quanti. Now, I think he would only do that if he thought this is going to cut up. Because I think Paul Nicholls would probably be the first person. I know he hasn't had a champion earl runner since Pitt Zig in 2014, I read today. So it'll be the first time in 12 years that he even had a runner in the champion hurdle. Now, he would not supplement Tutti Quanti unless he thought this is going to cut up and we might pinch third. Because actually, the way Tutti Quanti won at Newbury, you'd be thinking we may as well run in a handicap off top weight. So it's interesting that he's thinking that way. I would be of the opinion that Lossiemouth will go to the mares. I've always thought that. And I don't think Constitution Hill coming out has made any difference, because the horse who beat her last time is still in the race.
Yeah.
And all the signs from Gordon are, we're coming for this champion hurdle. And I think Gordon's got it in his head. There's a few people who sort of, you can see where Gordon sort of gave Ben Pauling 2 barrels full last week. I think there's a little bit of Gordon would like to turn around to the grandstand, stick his fingers up and say, I told you she was good, as she clears away and wins the champion hurdle. So I think he'll go. But yeah, I haven't, well, I'm really struggling on this race. I'm 50 notes down already, having backed Sergino and Constitution Hill, neither of which are going to bloody run. So for me, there's a part of me that's like,
Mine 2 bets. No, you've had 2 bets.
Actually, it's worse than that, because I also put up Kopek the board at 50s, and he's not running either. So it's not the complete.
Evan will get itchy.
I haven't done particularly well on this year's champion hurdle, and I'm not really sure I want to row in again and make it worse. But I think there's holes in all of them, and I'd imagine whilst we might get a result people would expect, I think there's a nice big price forecast and trifecta to be had here, because there's a very good chance at least one, if not two of the three at the head of the market will bomb out, won't run in the race, won't see it out. This is an each-way maggots race. I just can't decide which one.
Well, that's where things become interesting with Golden Ace, because for all the fact that she was obviously the beneficiary of complete chaos in the race, Constitution Hill falls, Brighterdaysahead bombs out, Stateman's about to have a glorious second champion hurdle, and then he's down at the last. She had a 4.81 lengths gain jumping, best in the race in the champion hurdle. To be fair, 3 of them didn't jump very well, 2 of them fell, so I guess that made it easier for her. And she has come out and won the fighting 5th, and she's finished in front of Brighterdaysahead at 2 consecutive Cheltenham festivals. So is she just a scummy scumbag account closer each way 13-2 bet in this race? Because she's going to be in the first 3.
She's definitely an exacta bet. She's definitely going to be in the first 3. Yeah, she could turn out to be, as someone said, I'm not going to say what I was told last day. She could be a very unassuming 2-time champion hurdle winner, and that's all jokes aside. That could happen, and would it shock me after last year's race? No, it wouldn't. That's just me at the moment, but sure, she's not good enough.
Yeah, I get the feeling that she's become the wise guy horse, Adam, in that if she gets around, like she's gonna be placed, but that's almost then. Like, does she really have the brilliance of the potential that the new line has? He's only had 6 starts over hurdles. He's won 5. Like, there's so much more to come from him potentially over this trip. Brighterdaysahead has obviously got a lot of natural brilliance. Lossiemouth, if she runs, obviously has a lot of natural brilliance. Poniros is totally unexposed. Anzadam has shown loads of talent, but he's a bit of a head case. And Ballyburn's got arguably the most potential of all of them in the field if they can get him right. Does she beat that field?
Well, this is my point. So let's imagine last year's race, and you sat there watching it, and both Stateman and Constitution Hill complete. Where does Golden Ace finish? At best, third.
Yeah.
At best.
Yeah.
And so I look at this, and I understand the each way angle, but I'd also say, so if you have £1 each way at 13-2, and she comes third, you get £2.30 back. So you're getting paid back on your stake at a 1-6 shot. I would much rather wait for the day, because if I was going to have another bet in this race, I'd be thinking, right, I want to load up and get Golden Ace on my side to hit the frame, but I don't necessarily want to be tying up half my stake on her to win, because if this is win only, she'd be 16s probably, because she's very good. The only horse to really give her a beating is Sergino, and I think we all agree Sergino would be a short price favourite if he was still here. But she's also, we have to acknowledge that while she's won 3 brilliant races, got a great record at Cheltenham, she's won a fighting 5th, and she's battled really hard to win a fighting 5th, there's been other circumstances that have meant she's had the opportunity to do so. And eventually, her luck is going to run out. She will still run her race. I think she'll run the exact same race she ran last year. But I think last year it was enough to win. I think this year it will be enough to finish third. So I, on the day, would be happy to throw in exactas for your place pot. She's probably a good bet. She's a nice bet to be sort of thinking right in the betting without market. But I'd be much happier wait on the day. I think she's going to be about 2.3, probably would be my guess. 3 places on the exchange. I'd rather have my 20 quid on that and just have a couple of quid on the win, because I just think, as good as she is, if they all get round and they all jump the last in a line, Golden Ace will not come sprinting past them.
Yeah, I would agree with that. I would also say I can understand why people would look at her and say the second to Stateman and the second to Sergino is good enough to run a big race here. Don't like the fact that she missed her prep race and she ran in the Kingwell last season. I think that is a significant thing that she's missed it, but she's there. She's rock solid for a place. You're probably going to get similar odds on the day. And so at this point, if we do get the 3 places each way, and maybe in such an open renewal, maybe a good few connections just fire bullets at this and say, let's go for it. It's the champion hurdle. There was chaos last season. Like, no one really talks about the connections of Burdett Road. They picked up a big check for second place. Plenty of people will be looking at it in that way again, and you've got no Constitution Hill to worry about, and the favourite's not invulnerable, shall we say. So there's plenty of horses there that you can have a wide enough opinion of. What about Poniros? I'm somewhat taken aback by the fact that this horse is so short in the betting, Jamie, and that makes me think 2 things. One, why are you this short in the betting? Does somebody know something, Mr. Bloom, that we don't? But the quote from Willie Mullins in his stable tour recently was, "We might finish in the first 5." Do you expect this horse to improve significantly? And he is outrageously unexposed after only 3 runs over hurdles.
I'm judging obviously the price is judged on Lulemba, Emmet. There's no jokes aside about that. It's judged on Lulemba. So I watched the race back today. Actually, was looking at Lulemba and it goes, hold on a minute. Is Lulemba going to win the Arca? If you put Lulemba for argument's sake in the champion hurdle, right? That race of Punchestown last year, they were in a good gallop. And the Stair won the race. And Poniros, like, I saw Paul Townend made a mid-race move, well, not mid-race, 3/4 way move to try to run this thing out of Lulemba. And it didn't work. So, no. Poniros, I'm not being smart. How that horse win the train for it? I don't think I'll ever get over that because the Lamba cost me a lot of money. But that's fine. That's racing, unfortunately. But no, Poniros, there's no chance. Like hands down, as we always said, if he becomes a race horse, he might have a chance. But I think he'll end up in the County Earl. That's just me. Could do better Arctic.
Big weight.
Yeah, I do. After mark he was given in the weights, I think he'll end up in the County Earl. Yeah, I think he'll be mustered if it was an old style County Earl. But last year's County Earl with Carrigeesy, they won a crawl, and that's why Carrigeesy won. That was one of the worst County Hurdles of all time, in my opinion, when it comes to a proper handicap pace. But when I go back to Poniros, no.
Was it Wicklow Brave? Did he carry a big weight?
Arctic Fire.
Yeah, Arctic Fire.
Yeah. So, Wicklow Brave was a big enough weight. He was in the mid 150s.
He was second, wasn't he? He was beating the photo finish.
Yeah. No, Wicklow Brave won it. Wicklow Brave won it.
No, he won the Coral Cup, didn't he? Not the county.
No. Wicklow Brave won the county. He refused in the Imperial Cup, and then a couple of days there, he won the county. And then the following year, Patrick Mullins lost to William Henry in the Coral Cup on the line. But I think, Emmet, we've been saying this for years, months, days, weeks. Surely William Mullins wakes up and put Ballyburn in the champion hurdle. And just go out in front. Catch me if you can. I don't think there's no doubt in my mind if he runs in the champion hurdle that would you see a horse that outstay him in the champion hurdle if it came that way? If it was soft heavy, unfortunately. If that happens, I think Ronnie Bartlett and all that are missing a huge trick. Now, they might turn around. William Mullins says he's running in the champion hurdle. If Townend bucks him out in front, oh my God. I know some people don't see it. Adam is totally entitled to his opinion. But I'm just telling you, if he runs in the champion hurdle, I think he's going to win it. I think he's overpriced at 16-1. I think he should be, obviously, with his form and he's come back from chasing, he should be 50-1. But why is he 16-1? So, I think.
Okay. There's a lot to dissect there because you and I are both big fans of Ballyburn and the potential of him running in the champion hurdle. I think they made a complete balls of it this season. And
I agree.
I kind of feel like it's a little bit the same as in Perry Pass. I'm sort of uncomfortable with this actually because I'm a huge fan of Willie Mullins and I always defend him. And anyone who says, Willie Mullins' dominance of racing is a bad thing, I get annoyed by that. Like Dan Skelton goes out and does the work. Gordon Elliott goes out and does the work. They don't complain about it. So just go out and try and be as good as him. It's not Willie Mullins' fault that he's as good as he is. But Sir Gerard, Impere Pass, Ballyburn, those horses all look like they were going to be superstars. And they kind of fell between two stools in that they almost got lost having won the Turners. Like Sir Gerard was turned into a chaser who comes back to being a hurdler. Impere Pass, they tried to make him into a champion hurdle horse, then realised very quickly he's not. And he's a 5-time Grade 1 winner. He's really good and he'd be interesting for the Ryanair, but he's probably going to beat John Bonnet Aintree. And Ballyburn, right after he won the Turners, Willie Mullins was talking about the champion hurdle with him. He said the same with Sir Gerard. He said the same with Impere Pass. They end up going chasing with him. He's a Brown Advisory contender last season. They got it in their heads he was going to be their Stayers hurdle horse this season because you can't jump fences with him, so you have to go over hurdles. Jasmine DeVoe's out for the season, so that almost becomes his default target. Instead of just letting the horse tell you what he is. And the quote from Willie Mullins at the stable tour recently was, there's no speed in his pedigree. But sure, Willie, you've seen the speed. He slammed a horse who goes on to win the Supreme. It might not have been a great Supreme, but Slade Steele was the winner that year, and you battered him at the DRF. You absolutely smashed him to pieces. And then you've scared everybody off from the Turners. You've led home a 1, 2, 3, 4 for the stable. You've won that really easily. And in behind is the horse who comes out and wins the Coral Cup the next year. Let the horse make the running from the front end, put Townend on his back, go out and say, catch me if you can. And if you get past him, then well done to you. But give him a go. Let the horse run.
Let him go.
Adam Mills.
Yes. Well, I don't like Ballyburn. I don't see it.
Why don't you like Ballyburn?
He's a relentless galloper.
I see it. No, he's not.
He's relentless.
He didn't relentlessly gallop behind Teahupoo at Christmas, did he? Cried enough for 3 furlongs to run. Well, I do agree with you. I think what they've done is they've misread the form in the Hattons Grace. They've looked at the Hattons Grace and they thought he was staying on. He needs further. I disagree. Yeah. That was a small field Hattons Grace. It became a sprint. Teahupoo had too much boot for him first time out because Teahupoo was absolutely ready. From there, they then gone, we've got to go 3 miles. Ballyburn has gone, I'm not going 3 miles in a million years, son. I remember that Brown Advisory, that hurt. And if you look at that Brown Advisory form, it is rubbish.
Yeah.
There isn't a winner in that field at all. It's fallen apart. Ignore that. I don't see it. I just don't see it. I look at this and think, I don't even think he's that great a jumper over hurdles. I don't like his head carriage at all. Horses like that just annoy me. And I just think if he runs in the race, he'll just set it up. Because if I was Harry Skelton, I think, I'll just track that thing. I know I'm faster than Ballyburn. Absolutely, I'm faster than Ballyburn. Jack Kennedy will do the same. And then they'll jump the second last, loom up sides. Ballyburn will fold like a pack of cards. I just don't see it. But, good luck to you. And, when he wins by 4 lengths, I'll look like an idiot. But I look at Ballyburn and I think, actually, the year that you were the best novice hurdler, those novice hurdlers weren't that great. Mystical Power is terrible.
Yeah, Mystical Power, Slade Steel.
He is terrible. There's no other word for it. He's terrible.
Yeah.
Slade Steel hasn't won a race. Tully Hill doesn't look anywhere near
He's
what
awful.
we thought he might once be. Maybe Ballyburn. Yeah, exactly. Ballyburn just looked really sexy and everyone's like, wow, this is amazing. And then in hindsight, you go, actually, that probably wasn't the greatest year and maybe you were just the best of the bunch. Yeah. And I think the new Lion and Kopek the Board and what they achieved last year is £10 better than what Ballyburn achieved as a novice hurdler. So for that reason, I couldn't be with him. And I wish you luck. I don't think he'll run. I think they'll go to Aintree because I think they'll look at the Aintree race and they'll think 2.5 miles round here. Ronnie Bartlett has likes to win as Aintree. 2.5 miles round there. If the new Lion wins the Champion Hurdle, he won't go to Aintree.
Yeah.
Brighterdaysahead definitely won't go to Aintree. I'd be very surprised if Lossiemouth did, unless she had a particularly easy time of things in the mares. Ballyburn could be favourite for the Aintree race, whereas in the Champion Hurdle he's going to be 20-1, and you probably can't do both.
That could be part of the Willie Mullins assault on the Trainers' Championship as well, as he tries to pick up the difference between himself and Dan Skelton, and he'll have the firepower, whereas Dan won't. Arctic Fire carried a mark of 1.58 and 11 stone 12 to win the County Hurdle, and that might be just ideal for Amsterdam. Big field, fast pace, no time to think, just creep him into the race, slingshot maneuver off the final bend, and Paul Townend rides that course unbelievably well. So him or Murcia and Amsterdam, I think, has more raw ability than she does. So if they go for that, that'd be really interesting. I find it hard to believe that a small field Champion Hurdle will, an 8-runner Champion Hurdle, a 9-runner Champion Hurdle, I just don't think that's going to suit him at all. And I really didn't like him the other day, and I wanted to, but you watch it back and you can't. Alexi? Any positives for Alexi?
I could see him placing.
Yeah.
But I would argue his handicap form, and even the Kingwell, it was a good display in the Kingwell. But I didn't look at that and think, yeah, you've got another stone of improvement to come. I think they're kind of between a rock and a hard place now. I think probably if they had £7 less, they'd be thinking about the County Hurdle. But they don't, so they're going to go into the Champion. No, I don't. I can't see him being anything more than 3rd or 4th.
I kind of feel like what you're going to hear, Jamie, is people assuming that the Champion Hurdle is going to be a replica of last year. That there was a shock last year, and therefore there's going to be a shock again. And so back these horses who are rated in the 140s. And I think that's wrong. Because
I agree.
I think it underestimates how good the new line is. It underestimates potentially how good Brighterdaysahead can be if she handles the track. And it underestimates how a horse like Ballyburn can come roaring back.
Exactly what you're saying. You just took the words out of my mouth. I don't think you're going to get that again.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Regardless if it's 6, 7 runner field, I don't think you're going to get that again. That's just my opinion. After what you're both of you talking there, it's just like it should be a straight shootout between Brighterdaysahead and the New Lion. The biggest bet of the whole year probably who's going to finish third. Do you know what I mean? Like if you're going with both rules, regardless of who's in the first 6 or 7 in the race. Do you know what I mean?
He has to give her £7. Like if she handles Cheltenham.
Yeah.
I think she's quicker. I don't think she's quicker than the New Lion. That's just my opinion. I think if they jump the last in front, the two of them together, which it's a rarity now in the champion hurdle, unfortunately, it's not an Archibald hard to use this year, Brevinka. I don't think you'd ever see that again in a champion hurdle. That's unfortunate. But I think if they jump the last together, New Lion will pull away. That's just me.
Okay, I'm going to get final picks for the champion hurdle from you both. The final line I'll say on Alexi, and I know he was giving him a lot of weight, but I think Wilful has got absolutely no chance in the champion hurdle. And if he's got no chance, then how does Alexi do? And Alexi is just in front of Rubo. Golden Ace was comfortably clear of Rubo in the Christmas hurdle. I know the ground was bad, but you're looking for a lot there for him to come along and win the race. Good luck to him. I like his connections and fair play. This episode is brought to you by 1xBet. If you're betting in Ireland, more than 7,000 events for you to get stuck into every single day, including the Cheltenham Festival, where they're non-runner, no bet, fast withdrawals, new customer sign-up offers. You can sign up now by clicking the link in the episode description. It'll take you right to the 1xBet website in Ireland. 18 plus, terms and conditions apply. Gamble responsibly. 1xBet knows the crack. Bet with your head, not above it. Click the link in the episode description. It'll take you right to the 1xBet website in Ireland. And hopefully you can make a good few bit of cash out of them for the Cheltenham Festival, with loads of different offers and loads of different sign-up bonuses available for you now. Join the winning team, the official betting partner of PSG and Barcelona, now by clicking the link in the episode description. It'll take you right to the 1xBet website in Ireland. If you're betting on the champion hurdle right now, Adam Mills, who is your bet?
Brighterdaysahead.
Jaime Wrenn.
Oh, the New Line.
Yeah, it's the New Line for me. I didn't think I'd say that a couple of weeks ago, but I'm starting to think he's a cracking bet, actually. But I don't think you should back him now, because he didn't go off second favourite for the Turners. So I'm kind of thinking you can. Back him now for sure, but I think you will get 2-1 on the day, and you might get a little bit bigger. Is there anything else that has come to mind in the last few weeks for Cheltenham that you're really interested in? Very, very briefly, I'll give a mention for a 20-1 shot that I'm intrigued by. But Adam Mills, for you, anything that you've backed in the last few days?
I've had 3 bets this week. The first is on a horse called I Started a Joke, which is from Charles Burns' yard. I mean, it's difficult. I've had 2 non-runner no bets on him. One in the county and the other one in the Martin Pipe, which probably means he'll run in the Coral Cup and screw me bet over. But either way, the reason I backed him is because he's in the Moor Battle Hurdle at Kelso on Saturday.
Yeah.
I can't confirm. I'm going to find out whether he's going to be a runner in that or not. But there is the Cheltenham bonus that's attached to that. And the reason I decided to back him now was I thought if he runs in the Moor Battle, he looks one of the best handicapped horses in there. If he wins that, his Cheltenham price will halve. The Shunter did this a couple of years ago, although admittedly he won over fences at the festival, but he won the Moor Battle bonus. Just looks the type. And he bumped into Bowen's On Fire at the DRF. He was sent off 7-4 favourite for a 20-runner handicap hurdle at the DRF. Backed off the boards. They were 6.5 lengths clear of the third, who was Kimi Demai. Bowen's On Fire is an exceptional racehorse. Really rapidly improving, really like Bowen's On Fire. So to have got that close to him was really good. But I had to back him now because if he wins the Moor Battle, his price will halve. Then I decided to go for a swing. I spent a long time trying to write an article on the Gold Cup. I gave up in the end. But I did persuade myself to have a very small £3.75 each way on Envoy Allen. Because I looked at the race, I looked at the forecast, the ground is starting to dry. Look at Jaime Wrenn's face. He's like, honestly, we won't even go there because Jamie and I have had a little match about the Gold Cup as well. But I looked at the race and I thought, right, let's assume that they all run. There's going to be quite a bit of pace behind Haiti Kalur.
We're both 40 this year, Adam. We'd stay longer than him.
I wanted to back a horse that I thought will be ridden with absolutely no intention of being involved in that. And it came to Envoy Allen. They've saved him. He's got a good record fresh. He's got a great Cheltenham record. Admittedly, I would much rather have been sort of loading up on the place part of that, because I think he's much more likely to run into a third, having been ridden quite cold. But his form with Affordale Fury is quite good. Everything he's done is good. His Cheltenham record's good. I know he handles the track. It's the last run of his life. Henry's going to have him absolutely spot on for this. I don't need to worry about any of the other Henry de Bromhead form, because they put him away since November. And I just thought he was 50-1 at the time. And I think actually the win-only part, 50s, is probably, maybe should be bigger. But the place part, because of the way the race will pan out, there'll be lots of horses here battling away, jumping the third last, the fourth last. Envoy Allen won't be involved in that. I think he's going to be ridden cold to have a really nice last day out. But I think his class might be enough to run past the beaten horses into the frame. When I did my maths, I thought he's about 7-2 to finish in the first three.
Damn.
That's how I calculated it. So for that reason, that 50s, I thought that's fair enough for me. I've had an each way on him. And the last bet that I've had is on a horse called McLaury in the Jack Richards. Now, look, we got in trouble for criticising Mark Walsh. I don't even try to criticise him. We spoke some facts about Mark Walsh's strike rate, and not everyone agreed with us. But what I will say, having done some I've done some work for the Cheltenham handicaps.
Before I let you go down 1 second, I'll be back. Will McLaury get in?
Well, yeah, there's that. But I've done a lot of prep work on the Cheltenham handicaps in the last few days. And what I've realised is Mark Walsh has done the best handicapping job that I've seen in years. This is Martin Pipe-esque. There's 3 or 4 of JP's where you think, Christ, he's ridden these things and got the marks that are probably a stone below where they should be. Yeah. McLaury would be top of that list. I think he's better handicapped than Saratoga, and I think Saratoga's got a few pounds in hand. But McLaury won a handicap hurdle at the DRF in 2025. Beat Storm Heart. That form now looks all right. 4 rides over fences. That's what I'm going to say, so I don't say anything controversial. 4 rides over fences. Best described, or described officially by the Racing Post, as never nearer when 4th behind another way at Down Royal. But when you look at the sectional times, he was the fastest horse over the final quarter of a mile, went round the bend. He got a BHA rating of 133. Now, there's a slight danger that he doesn't sneak into one of these handicaps now, but I think he will get in off a very low weight, and I expect him to improve massively for the application of cash. He's in the plate as well, but there's another plot job in the plate that we might cover next week, and I think they'll work out that there's a plot job in the plate and they'll run in the Jack Richards instead, so I decided to back.
Okay, I'm very much aware of the fact that there's going to be plot jobs in the Jack Richards, and so I know that this might be something that I change closer to the date, but I've backed 3 horses this week. The first of them is Quebecois, speaking of plot jobs. That time form novices handicap chase form is, first of all, it's ridiculous every single season. It's the most prolific source of winners at the Cheltenham Festival. But this season's form, the 4th, Cadus Saint Frey, was 3rd in the Ladbrokes Trophy at the weekend. The 5th, Calavet en Vol, benefits from a return to a flat track, wins the handicap chase at Kempton on the same day. Secret de Bio won a novice handicap chase. Even the 9th place horse won a listed handicap hurdle at Auteuil under Bryony Frost. The winner of that is Jordan's Cross. He's won these 3 completed chase starts, and he probably should be unbeaten in all 4 because he was right there at the last when he tumbled on his 2nd start behind the stable companion who goes on to win. Quebecois was 3rd to 6 Mile Bridge, unbeaten in 3 chase starts, including Grade 1 this season, and Potter's Charm, Grade 2 hurdle winner at the weekend in the National Spirit over hurdles at Cheltenham last season. Won a handicap hurdle at Ayres Scottish Grand National meeting. Jump Alen was in behind. He goes on to win next time out at Sandown, helping Willie be champion trainer. Barba Tablet has won twice for Nicky Richards. Say It's a Chance won the Goran Park novice chase that's working out really well with Soldier Milan in behind that day. Even the Henderson horse, who pulled up, has won over fences since. Completely bombed out in his first 2 starts over fences, and then explodes into life on handicap chase debut, when 2nd in a photo finish in that time form novices handicap chase behind Jordan's Cross. 7 of the last 12 winners were novices of the Ultima. 10 of the last 16 winners had run at Cheltenham earlier in the season. He's a brother to the Grade 1 Albert Bartlett winner Brizzini Breeze. Obviously that horse was lost afterwards. But given the fact that Quebecois got a mark of 139, he's probably better than that. Almost certainly, he's certainly bred to be. He's got proven stamina, having won over the trip at Ayr. They needed to run him the other day to qualify for a handicap chase at Cheltenham. Him being beaten over 2 miles isn't really going to matter. And straight afterwards, Max McNeil said, straight to the Ultima, which of course is a race he sponsors. Think he's very, very interesting for the race. He can get 16 to 1 with 1xBet. I've backed him. I've done the related contingency with Jordan's Cross for all the reasons I've just said. He did really, really well to reel in Quebecois and Scorsese. He seemed to get outpaced, but they're on the front end. He manages to get up. That's not easy to do on the new course at Cheltenham, particularly in a handicap chase. I think he only does enough. So a mark of 140 with soft ground potentially on the new course, that's all going to suit him. He's only 6. He's had 7 lifetime starts, including under rules, just the 4 chase starts. He's unbeaten in the 3 completed starts. I'd say there's plenty more to come from him. So related contingency double, Quebecois and Jordan's Cross. And the other one was, I was trying to decide which of the 2 market leaders do I back in the Mayor's Novice Hurdle? And am I going with Old School Outlaw, or is Bambino Fever going to win her 2nd consecutive race at the Cheltenham Festival? And I end up coming down on Kingston Queen. And I said this on Barry Doyle's show on Monday. She comes from the same race that Love Envoi and You Wear It Well won at Warwick, the Weatherby's Cheltenham Festival betting guide. Shout out Paul Ferguson. Jane Seymour, Novice Hurdle, before winning this. She was 9 lengths in front of Old School Outlaw in the Mayor's Bumper at Aintree. She absolutely battered Cryptic Jim on her hurdles debut. He's unbeaten in 3 starts since, including the Grade 2 at Cheltenham on Trials Day. She was sent off favourite to win the same race. All Park Star ended up winning at Cheltenham. She finishes 3rd. The 2nd has since finished runner-up to Active Innocence in a listed race. She might be better suited to longer trips, but she's got proven stamina. That's been an asset in this race, certainly with the winner last year and several others. I think there's plenty of class. She's very, very game too. She was really game to win the other day, back against her own sex. You can get 20 to 1 about her. Way too big. Kingston Queen, each way in the Mayor's Novice Hurdle, Quebecois and Jordan's Cross. They're the 3 horses that I've backed for Cheltenham this week. Jamie Wrenn, for you?
Wouldn't disagree with Quebecois in the Ultima. A race that I struggled with over the years, Emma, I'm not going to lie to you. Indoors, one for that. Kim Rock goes in the Ultima. Oh my God. If Kim Rock goes in the Ultima, it'll break the Dundee curse of the Irish, unfortunately. If Kim Rock goes in the Ultima, it'll win. Off 1-3-1. But I think...
So didn't you say it would do the same thing at the DRF? And I think someone who knows a little bit about French racing...
Excuse me, can I have my bit of thunder here now? Melbourne Shamrock. Yes, come on, hold on. You know what we're going to do
the
now?
The worst pretemps qualifier of all time, but Adam Mills got us the winner. Up, yep, by you, Mills.
Do you know what we're going to do now, Emma? We're going to say is Cheltenham going to be soft, very soft, heavy? Do you know what I mean? Is the rain going to do? Are we going on French times? Mills again, like.
Be sure and DM Adam for the update on the French going.
Yeah. Mills is insane. Ballyburn has no chance of the champion hurdle. Way back. But anyway, all jokes aside, I think the yellow clay, Emmet, no change in his mark. Now I heard that Mr. Keneally is going to be on, not Josh Williamson.
Oh,
so 5 off Keneally.
So 150.
150. Like, Carl Cups to me is a very good, well handicapped horse. Like, look, Jimmy decided one off 146 last year, wasn't it? I might be wrong.
Yeah, for Danny.
150, 150.
There's a 150 horse that won it for Gordon though, not that long ago.
Commander of Fleet.
Yes, thank you.
Yeah, beat Faster Stowe, am I right? Or I think beat Faster
Stowe.
No,
but those colours.
It is Faster Stowe.
Was it? Jeez.
Yeah, because the other horse lost the Langer.
Oh yeah, he finished 2nd in the Ultimate in the following season. You're right.
Yeah. So I think the yellow clay. I keep topping up on the yellow clay. The only horse I really fancy, bar the yellow clay, is because Dan Skelton keeps going on about Cabral de Mathan running in the Stairs Earl. I think Jinko Blue would have a chance. The old William Henry whisper kind of thing for Nicky Henderson would definitely have a very good chance. I did the actual related double the last day. I said, Archer back Jinko Blue 40 to 1 and back Cabral de Mathan in each way double for the crack. Panda Boy, I keep backing for the Fox Hunters. I just do, because Martin Brazil says the better the ground, the better his chance. And as I said to you yesterday, the horse that I think my handicap banker of the whole week is, I keep topping up on him, Emmet. I backed it at 20-1 and 16-1 earlier in the season for the Perth Thames final. I'm all over. He's no favourite. I'm all over Supreme West.
Oh, Jesus Christ.
All over him. He's now 7-1, 6-1, 7-1 favourite. And I think in the Martin Pipe, saw the way to look, the passing wife was obvious. Like, the problem with the Martin Pipe, the top weight's 143. There's no 145 horse in the race, which is very strange. A Python has to be active authority is only a pound up from beaten by Woodhue.
Here's one for you. What would you prefer? Would you prefer Mercia in the county or in the Martin Pipe?
County.
But the one horse that people are forgetting in the Martin Pipe is a horse from Fergal O'Brien. I think it's Fergal O'Brien, isn't it? Shio Gal, who ran at the Dublin Racing Festival.
Yeah,
and she was she's in the 128, I think she got. She's really well handicapped. Now, Martin Pipes are Martin Pipes. So you have the Passing Wife, Show Gal, Pied Denam, Rock Team. There's loads of horses in that. Active Authority. But I think if Show Gal runs in the Martin Pipe, I'm going to back her on the day.
That's Supremely West. Like, is he a bleeder?
Good thing. I don't care what it is.
The stewards, weekend before the last, inquiring to running. Jockeying explained that his priority was to sit prominently and to race with cover, as his mount has a tendency to race keenly. He added that the pace was provided by Gowl Road, who raced to the inside, and he elected to remain behind this runner, resulting in him taking this line. He further added, the gelding handles testing conditions well, in addition to staying further, so he was not concerned about racing on the more worn line. Trainer's rep had no explanation for the poor form shown. This is where he went on the worst possible ground at the November Open meeting at Cheltenham. When everybody else, including the winner, Kiki Joe, goes out the outside.
Do you know what Dan Skelton said the last day? We ran him over 2.5 miles because we didn't think he knew he stayed 3 miles.
Took keen hold, in touch with leaders, lost position before fourth, dropped to rear before 2 out, usual 4 out, weekend 1 furlong out. Was racing off a mark of 137 when third, beaten 5.5 lengths by Mashan 2 at
What's his mark now, Emmet?
135.
There you go.
Yeah.
Langer than 2.0.
The great game. Great game, boys. The great game. Right, that's it. If an Irish trainer was doing this, there'd be absolute uproar. There'd be pandemonium. But sure, we love to see it, because as long as we make a profit out of it, who cares? It's all good. Right, that's it. We are back with a special with Gavin Lynch for his exclusive thoughts on the Cheltenham Festival. Looking forward to that. The annual Cheltenham Festival with Gavin Lynch. We've got the usual weekend preview coming your way as well. Aidan Coleman is back with us on the Final Furlong Podcast. Paige Fuller returns for a Race IQ Data Special. Adam Mills and Jaime Wrenn here with their expert opinions as well. If you like what we're doing, smash a like on this episode. It's much appreciated. Hit the subscribe button so you never miss an episode of the Final Furlong Podcast. We'll be back with you very, very soon with more build-up and countdown and crack for the Cheltenham Festival. Let us know who you like for the Champion Hurdle. Let us know if you've backed any horses this week for Cheltenham as well. Are you in agreement with Adam? Do you agree with Jamie? Do you agree with me? Who do you like for Cheltenham so far? Let us know in the comment section below. We'd love to hear from you. From Adam, Jamie, and myself, thank you for watching. Thank you for listening. Look after yourself and each other. God bless.
Thanks for spending some time with us on the Final Furlong Podcast. We're independent media, so if you like what we do, hit like, share, and subscribe. It's free, it's quick, and it genuinely helps. And if you enjoyed this episode, there's plenty more where that came from. Don't miss out. Subscribe on YouTube, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and all major platforms, and join us on the gravy train. The Final Furlong Podcast. Independent, unfiltered, and powered by you.